Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back to Comic.Church.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, with the Disney Fox deal that we were talking about a little bit ago, I mean, it's such a huge deal. I mean, think about it. Disney paid $52.4 billion.
That's nothing. That's chunk change for them.
$52.4 billion.
Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine. Because, I mean, I was looking at that and thinking about that. That right there would solve our homeless population. It could erase everyone's financial, their college debt, everything like that in the nation. 52.4, but they just paid for it, so
that's half the value of Facebook maybe a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what they're valued now, but
I mean it's crazy. I mean,
but yeah, that was to make a bunch of rich people richer.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I mean, just because they want to have more of an in with the streaming services. So here's a couple different things that with the merger, they now own ESPN.
Okay,
wow.
Disney is owned by ESPN now.
Yeah,
A&E.
Disney owns ESPN.
Disney owns ESPN now. So A&E, ABC, Vice. And they're 60%.
Vice. That was
Vice.
HBO, wasn't it, before?
I believe HBO originally had their hands on it. And somehow along the way, I guess, Fox
It'll probably continue to be licensed by
it.
HBO, I'm guessing.
I mean, I did hear that there's
part of the
more.
AT&T merger, isn't it?
I think. I don't know.
The other beast.
Because there are some other ones, and they are going to keep a lot of the shows like that where they're going to keep the ratings. They're going to keep doing that. Along with some of the other ones. I mean, what is it? Blue Sky Entertainment is now owned by Disney.
Okay.
That's the one that gave us Rio, Ice Age.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
a couple
big
of
one.
those other, animated, so like those Fox animated shows and stuff like that. And so, I mean, think about it. They have Pixar, these other animations. I mean, Disney.
This gives them some negotiating power too, because you look at like Universal Studios in Florida. The Marvel characters are all at Universal Studios, not Disney. Yeah. Whereas Universal Studios
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons is also at Universal Studios, which means that Disney potentially has some negotiating power to try and get those into their own theme parks in exchange.
Because I thought about that a long time ago when Marvel was or Disney was purchasing Marvel. So anything west of the Mississippi is going to be changed to Disney's Marvel, everything like that. I can't remember the year or everything like that, but they were going to let Universal keep Marvel Land, because there's a whole Marvel Land at Universal.
Yeah.
And they were going to let them keep
It was my favorite part.
for I don't know how long or anything like that. And so
we'll see if Disney buys that land, or if
it's probably
it.
They're probably grandfathers.
Yeah. Disney will do a better job with it. I think. Maybe
they bought Avatar and have built Avatar into Disney World back in 2011, I think it was. And so this has kind of almost been a plan that they've been, looking at for a long time. Because now Avatar is technically, they are owned by Disney.
Yeah.
And now people are saying it's an Avatar franchise. There's only one movie. But James Cameron, they're working on like 3 movies at the same time. So
having worked in large organizations and companies and such, this has been planned for years. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all part of an overall strategy to get more control of that part of the market and the planet.
Well, and let's go conspiracy theory here, because this is K-Talk and we love our conspiracy theories. But imagine being, Bob Iger, who owns Disney, and having the ability, you own Fox, you own Disney, you own ABC, you own all these media assets plus all the newspapers and radio stations and whatnot. And to say there's an issue that you're particularly irked about or you want to influence.
Oh, yeah.
And so now what if you used your whole entire apparatus to influence so much of a swath, a third of the entire media for the planet Earth?
Yeah.
So at the same time, so what if Bob Iger got together with his buddy over AT&T, who owns CNN, HBO, and all those, Time Warner?
Mm-hmm.
That was another merger, and they said, "Hey, you feel the same way I do about this issue. Let's use our infrastructure of media that we own and influence planet Earth to believe what we want to believe."
Yeah.
Now you have 2/3 of all the media sources on planet Earth with a mission to carry out the same vision. Now add Comcast, Universal, NBC. There's the whole entire pie. You just need to get 3 people to hop on board to one vision, one idea, and you can manipulate the entire planet Earth to believe what you want to believe.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, that's just it. That's terrifying.
There's so many times in history where that was a cause of a major event. Somebody.
But nothing like this
has
has ever existed in
This-
all of humanity.
Yeah.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing? That's the question.
I mean, that's a big debate right now. Is this good for who is this good for besides
The shareholders.
the shareholders?
But the other thing is absolute power corrupts absolutely. And show me an example where that has not been the case, where you give whatever entity absolute control and power, that they won't use that to corrupt themselves. I mean, that's how churches fall. That's how nations fall. That's how corporations fall. That's how presidencies fall. When you no longer have accountability and you think you control everything, you will be corrupted by that power.
I mean, that's the thing is power goes to your head. I mean, with everything. So, I mean, there's a lot more, and that's just a lot of, I mean, we had talked about like some of the TV shows. I don't know, Family Guy.
Yeah, Family Guy.
Family Guy is owned now by Disney.
Does that make Stewie a Disney princess?
There you go. There you go. I think that one will.
That one could count.
Will count.
So on that same topic, same creator, same voicing.
Yeah.
The Orville.
Yeah.
Love that show. Can we talk about that for a bit?
Definitely. That's where I kind of wanted to talk
Is
about
this
that.
now a Disney enterprise?
It
is a Disney enterprise.
Wow.
Disney owns
Orville.
Fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how are they going to merge this universe?
I don't know. I mean,
So let's just talk about let's
this
geek out
is
on
a show
Orville
that
for a
kinda
little bit.
Drew kind of brought me onto and stuff like that. It's one that I'd been wanting to watch, and like last week he's like, "Hey, you guys need to watch this episode." So I watched the episode. I just remember it was last week's new episode, so I can't remember the name of the episode.
They've been off for 3 episodes, but the premise of it is they opened up a time capsule from 400 years ago, which puts it to about 2016.
So
And
400 years in the future, they opened up a time capsule from today's time.
Wow.
And one of the items in there was an iPhone. And 400 years later, the systems are degraded, whatnot. But they're like, oh, I could fix. Maybe we could fix that.
Well, at first they didn't know how to get into it because the technology was so old.
Yeah,
And the
It's so
battery
old
was
school,
dead. And
yeah.
the guy's like, "Hey, I did some modification. The battery's good for 10,000 years now." And I was like,
So what? Gordon Malloy he downloads and sees this really hot chick in the photos in this iPhone that was unlocked, and it's like they're looking through all the text messages, and it's like it's got everything.
I did that with my son's iPhone 4 the other day. Opened it up and
let me finish. Okay,
go
let me
ahead.
finish the story because that might be weird for you when I finish the story. So what he did was he went to their holodeck, their version of a holodeck simulator, is what they call it, and he uploaded all of the information from the iPhone, all the videos, all the text messages, all the recordings, social media, and the computer was able to put together a simulation of her life based on what was found in the cell phone. And he ends up falling in love with her.
Wow.
And so it's a really interesting premise. And the thing I love about that show is they take topic issues and put them, in the sci-fi frame of mind, but then makes you think about it. What if your iPhone or your phone was found 400 years in the future, and they were able to make a simulation on your life based on your phone's observation of you? What would that look like?
Do they have access to Facebook?
I don't know. They really didn't get into
the whole concept of this is she was getting a new phone, and she thought, instead of throwing my old phone into a cupboard and forgetting about it, she kind of started making a kind of a journal diary to whoever would find this phone in the future. So they were able to go through like her texts and her friends and what she was doing at that time when she put the phone in the time capsule. So it kind of simulated what she was. She had just, moved, broken up with a boyfriend and moved out on her own and things like that. And
that's when Malloy falls in love with her in that point.
Have a boyfriend.
But then the boyfriend comes back.
Wow.
And so he's like, okay, computer, delete the boyfriend. He tried to pull a Captain Janeway in Fairhaven. And there's a lot of, you could tell they're fans of Star Trek. And also the Star Trek cast is reoccurring throughout the whole show. It's directed a lot of times by Jonathan Frakes, who's Commander Riker. There's a lot of crossover. Tom Paris he comes and directs too. So there's a lot of crossover. But
I heard
But yeah, so he's like, delete the boyfriend. But then her personality changes. And he's like, well, because she was a musician and performer, but then deleted the boyfriend, and she's not anymore.
Wow.
And,
okay.
the computer, then he's like, computer, why is she different? He's like, well, you deleted the algorithms of the boyfriend, and the boyfriend encouraged her to perform and do her music, and you deleted her. It's no longer her anymore. Mm-hmm. And, then also that thought, what kind of people, how do they fit into algorithms into our lives that make us who we are today?
Well, yeah, and it kind of gave me the thought, and I was talking with a friend last week about this. Kind of after I saw it, we were talking about something, and how everybody that you interact with in your life, or anyone that you kind of have a commitment with or something like that, you kind of learn something from them. You gain some knowledge, you gain some self-esteem, or you lose some self-esteem, you lose some knowledge. I mean, it can go either way with each person you interact with. With a friend, you have a friend because you crave something from them. You start dating someone because you see something in them that you like, and that's where it goes. And that's kind of where this brought up
the influence.
The whole influence is
like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun.
I mean, all of it.
Preach, Drew.
If I didn't meet Drew, 6 years ago, I wouldn't be sitting here today doing a podcast.
Me too.
Yay.
So I mean, there's those influences and stuff like that. I mean, so it like you said, it's the butterfly effect. Anything that you do kind of can change a lot of things. And so I kind of like this episode, and I told Drew afterwards, because he's been trying to get me to watch Star Trek Discovery 2, and I really want to watch it. It's just so hard to find time to watch all these, but after I watched that Orville episode, I'm like, I think I found one that I want to watch.
But it's not a zero sum. It's not one or the other. And that's another thing we've talked about, is the fan bases are plucking each other's eyes out. It's like, Orville's better than Discovery. Discovery's not Star Trek. And it's like, why can't you just enjoy both?
Oh, I want to. And I'm so excited.
Exactly.
So many people, and then I've heard people say, oh, Orville's just Family Guy in space. I'm like, you're so stupid. No, it's not. It is nothing like it. I mean, it's
Star Trek with people with like me and my personality on a ship. Yeah.
You're not a true geek unless you can just learn to understand that it's entertainment, and we can enjoy every single one in its own way.
Go into the funny, feel-good Orville universe and enjoy that, and then when that's done, guess what? I'm going to go to the Discovery universe, and it's dark and adventurous, and
now we can theorize how they connect.
Yeah, because I did watch one of the other Discovery episodes, and she's keeping these people alive from an attack that they had. I mean, it was just.
But here's the interesting thing.
Made me feel good.
It's two different interpretations of our future.
It is.
And
it really is.
And we could take it even further, adding another universe. Star Wars is another interpretation of our future, or some people may say it's a
long time
retelling
ago.
of our past.
Yeah.
That it's already happened. but whatever that may be, Star Wars is a dystopian future. Star Trek right now is like the in-between. Yes, war exists. Yes, there's conflict. Yes, there's, the mirror upside down reality. What's up is down, down is up, recognizing that. And then there's Orville, where it's like, we're a nice socialist society where we've got everything worked out. And yes, Bortus and his race of people are really bigoted and weird and funny. But for the most part, like, we all get together. It's a happy socialist life, and
exactly.
But it's a representation of all different variations of what our future can be. And the thing is, right now, it's us to decide, what do we want?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it's the direction that we make it. We can make it this dark, distal, and pissy type of future, or we can have a good life, lightful future going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the people and stuff like that, and the direction we want to take it.
And let's even go further. Like, the other fandom we have is The Walking Dead. And, so many people like that. And I read a very interesting opinion piece. I think it was in the Washington Post. I'll have to look that up. But that actually attributed, is our Make America Great Again nihilistic society, let's just burn it down, the byproduct of having an entire culture just go crazy over the zombie Walking Dead, which... if they're the enemy, we can kill them, dehumanizing. Like, it's made some pretty interesting points.
It's that whole, it kind of brings up the purge.
Yeah. And, and how the entertainment we ingest, how does that affect then our reality and our interpretation of that reality?
Yeah.
And, I don't want a Walking Dead future. Star Wars is fun. I don't want a Star Wars future either. I'm kind of gunning for that Gene Roddenberry socialist future, like, Bernie Sanders in space. Like, that's what I want.
See, I have a theory. Walking Dead is just a bunch of sapiosexuals. It's a simile of sapiosexuals that just want brains and.
Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of cool too.
But it's
Planet of the Apes future.
Yeah, it's an ultimate us versus them
people who like brains.
Paradigm. But we've got more in Comic.Church coming up here. We're gonna do a top of the hour news break, and we will be back. You're listening to K Talk, AM 1640, real local two-way talk.